Hello everyone, a very warm welcome. And yes, I am again Sian Shubhadia, and I hope that for the last two sessions, the enjoyment that we have had in the sessions, your energy levels are super duper high, and I think you're all fully decked up for your day three of past paper discussion. Quickly, just give me your presents, guys. You all are there in the class. Please ping in yes. Just ping in yes so that I know who all are there in the class. Okay, so I have yes, very good. Okay, great. Now, as we begin, on a quick note, guys, did you attempt the two papers that we did over the last 2 days? Has anybody attempted on their own the two papers? And are you now having that confidence? Are you now having a feeling that yes, I'm able to understand the questions, I'm able to draft the answer? Anyone? Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Great. Good. Okay. Anything, anywhere that you find challenges, please put that to me in the chat box. Okay. I'll tell you one of the reasons basically why I am doing this practice. Because over the years, by teaching so many in thousands, this number of students, I have experienced that generally students take section C as the last end, and they always take it section C as that section that they always keep for the last portions to complete. And when you arrive at the last 10 days, then suddenly section C becomes very heavy and that becomes very difficult for you to do. Therefore, I want all of you that you have to emphasize that when you come across any of the students, any of your friends that you know, those who were not able to clear PM, the first question that you ask, that which section that you found troubled you a lot, would be section C. So these 40 marks, they actually play a very big game changer role. And therefore, using this 40 marks, using your time perfectly is much needed. And this is the reason why we are doing these past paper practice. Okay, so now let's begin with the paper for today. That is September December 25, the 25-26 syllabus, this one. So I'm going to start this and we will be now doing it just as the way that we have done the earlier ones as well. And here also we will be quickly looking at some of the comments of examiner as well. Okay. I do hope that everybody has read these instructions. Okay. So like I told you, please read them before the exam day only. Okay. So we have different topic. Now, first past paper that we took on day one, we discussed primarily on a very, the non-financial performance measures like the three E's, the value of money was a major topic that we discussed over there. Then yesterday, the day two of our past practice session, we discussed on budgets, and on the first day also we discussed the budgeting control. Here we discussed about again the lot of theory portions. We discussed a bit of residual income also. Then we discussed the other different topics also for the service industry only, and we discussed the transfer pricing portions as well, right? So we did versatile topics across 2 days. Now today the topic that we are having would be around CVP and balanced scorecard. So again, two different topics so that you have a complete exposure of section C, and this gives you a fair idea about how would you be dealing with section C questions in the exam. Okay, so now keeping these energy levels super duper high and the understanding levels equally very high, let's have the clear cut understanding of dealing with these past papers. So let's start doing them. Now, again, we are going to read backwards. Remember, backward reading, same style we are adopting here. Calculate the contribution to CS ratio. So that means they are asking about contribution to sales ratio, which is CS ratio, for each of the three models of washing machine. So here we have three models of washing machine, and the overall weighted average contribution to sales ratio for Kalin company. So this question gives me an idea that probably there are three products for which I need to calculate individual CS ratio, and then the company as a whole I need to calculate the CS ratio. Okay. So we are done doing here question number A. I will read the data, I will take the data, and accordingly I will solve it parallelly. Kalin company manufactures and sells washing machines. The company makes three products, three different models of washing machine. Two for household, that is workhouse and pristine, and the one is industrial use jumbo. Selling price and cost details per unit for the model are as follows. Now, what I need to calculate is the contribution sales ratio, right? So I think with this data, I can work it out. So even if I don't read the other data, I can stop reading till here only. We have been given selling price, we have been given variable cost and overhead allocation. Okay, so start doing it. So I will write here workhouse, I will write here pristine, and I will write here jumbo. Okay, I will extend the cells. And now I will write one by one. So I will have selling price. It is given to you per unit. Then when you multiply with number of units, you will get total selling price, right? So selling price per unit is given to you 400, 600 and 1250. Okay, now number of units, so that I can just put down and write here number of units. Now wherever I get number of units, it's not given here. So let's read further. The overhead allocation is an allocation of fixed cost based on the expected amount of direct labor hours required to make each machine. So it's allocated based on direct labor hours. But do I need to check that? No, because we presume unless question mentions, we will always presume it to be correct. Okay, now let's go further. So now we have annual fixed cost for the current year are expected to be 1375. So annual fixed cost is given to you. The number of wasting machines expected to be manufactured and sold, washing machines, it is given to you. So now units sold are given to you in 2009. That is 2000, 1200 and 800. Same I will mention here, 1200, sorry, 2000, 1200 and 800. Now I've got the selling price per unit. I've got this, so I can calculate total sales. So that will be simply multiplication of the two. Okay, now let's calculate contribution. So what is contribution per unit? For that I need variable cost. Right, so I will write down here variable cost also. So I will write a variable cost per unit, which is 400, which is 170, 230 and 580. Okay, done. Now what is contribution per unit? How do you do that, guys? How do we calculate contribution? Simple formula. Sales less variable cost, right? I hope my class is with me. So now I will do here quickly selling price per unit less variable cost per unit. And here also selling price per unit less variable cost per unit, and the same for jumbo as well. Now you will multiply it with the number of units and get total contribution. So I will multiply this with the number of units, this also with the number of units, and this also with number of units. Okay, now you can get the total column because we need for the entity also as a whole. So I can have Kaelin company as one more column. Okay, that's the total column. So now here you can have the total revenue, add it. And here also you will add contribution. Because the question asked me to calculate the weighted average ratio. Hence. Okay, now let's calculate it. So get the CS ratio. How do you get CS ratio? Just divide total contribution by total sales. So here it is 0.75, 0.617, and it is 0.536. Now for weighted average, don't do anything. Get the total sales that we have done and divide by total contribution divided by total sales. So I get here 0.571. Done and dusted. I secured my 3 marks. Now let's go to the next one. Calculate the margin of safety as a percentage for Kaelin company and explain the implications of margin of safety percentage for Kaelin company. Show the margin of safety percentage to 1 decimal place. Only it's a 5 marker. So for margin of safety, what I need budgeted revenue and I need the break-even revenue. Correct? So let's calculate the break-even revenue first. So here I will write question number B. Okay. Now break-even revenue. How do we calculate break-even revenue? Please type the formula fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Right? Now here you will calculate for the organization as a whole. So you will write here weighted average contribution per unit. Okay, wait, we need revenue. So I don't need to do weighted average contribution per unit. I will have weighted average CS ratio that we calculated in the last question. Weighted average CS ratio. Right? So what is fixed cost given to you here? 1375. Now people, did you observe? I've still not read the full question and I've almost done half of the question here. So you don't need always reading of the entire question to solve the questions. So selective reading is very essential if you want to increase your marks. If you want to increase your marks, then selective reading is very, very essential. Okay. Now, 1375 divided by weighted average contribution. I don't remember. No worries. Go back to the previous screen. You can and take down your weighted average CS ratio, which is 0.571. So I will take it here and I will divide it by 0.571. Right. So I get here my break-even revenue is 2408,056. Okay, now what is budgeted revenue that we had calculated in the last screen, right, where we calculated total revenue. So let's look at that also. Budgeted revenues 252,0000. So please write down it here, 252,0000. Now you know everything. So calculate margin of safety plus first. How do we calculate margin of safety? Margin of safety is equal to budgeted revenue less break-even revenue divided by budgeted revenue multiplied by 100, right? If you're not calculating percentage, just the margin of safety, then you will not take this way. You'll just take the difference. But here, since we are taking the percentage which is required in the question, I will take it this way. Now here I will take budgeted revenue. I will use the formula required in the exam. Okay. Then this, then divided by budgeted revenue, and finally multiplied with 100. I get 4.44%, but the question says please mention only 1%. So I will write your margin of safety is equal to 4.4%. Done. I'm secured with my 5 marker also. Now let's take the next one, and maybe now we need to read the full question. Okay, so let's start doing it. The next question says, guys, based on the current selling price, I'm doing part C1. Based on the current selling price, calculate what is the sales revenue required for Killing Company to achieve the CEO's target profit. That we have not read, we will read now, and discuss the feasibility of this target profit. Okay, it's a 4 marker. So for both parts, 2. Okay, now let's read further. The expected mix of sales is based on the mix of actual sales from 20X8, which has been maintained into early part of 20X9. A new CEO has recently joined Kalin Company. Okay, so the new CEO has recently joined Kalin Company. He has been discussing possible opportunities for growth and set an annual profit target of 200,000 for the next year. So it is 200,000 is the profit target. The CEO has been discussing his plans with the other directors, and the following are extracts from a recent meeting. Operations director said that the production line is currently operating at 80% capacity, but I see little point making some machines if we cannot sell them. So production department is little apprehensive about increasing the capacity to 100%. Okay. Marketing department says marketing for washing machines is fairly mature now. That means you are already at the maturity stage and reached till the topmost level. And there is little opportunity for growth in the market as a whole. So overall, the market is very downturn. Competition in the household segment is particularly tough, but the hospitality industry is showing some growth. So there is potentially scope to increase the sales growth of Jumbo by selling to restaurants and hotels. So please change the category of the product to Jumbo. However, we may need to lower the price to have significant increase in volume. So, but price is highly market competitive. So whether price will guarantee us the increase or not, I mean, all that we will cover here. Now just look at the previous screen, and when you look at the previous screen, you find that Jumbo's CS ratio in compared to others is the least. So if we increase the production of Jumbo, it will not be very profitable for the organization. Plus, when you look at the next screen, the margin of safety is only 4.4%. What does this mean? That we can afford our budgeted revenue to reduce by only 4.4%, such a smaller amount. Because if it reduces further, then the entity will have a loss. No gain, only loss. Okay? So these all thoughts, they should come to your mind probably when you're reading the questions. Okay, let's go to the next one. And let's go to the discussion here. So now here, based on the current selling prices, calculate the sales revenue required for Killing Company to achieve a targeted profit of 200,000, right? Yeah, 200,000. So we know the formula for break even, right? And discuss the feasibility of this profit target. Okay. we can know the break even. So question C, it says that sales revenue to achieve target profit, what formula will you use? Fixed cost plus target profit, right, divided by, since it's a revenue, so we will have weighted average CS ratio. Clear? Done. Now let's do the calculations. Yes, but here either you do it in Excel or you take out your calculator, because we are doing it on the word screen. Now what is the fixed cost? 1375 plus the target profit is 200,000 divided by what is the weighted average CS ratio? We had calculated, no, for the company as a whole, 0.571. 0.571. Okay. Now let's do it here. Okay. Yeah, so now what is my answer here? I'm doing it on calculator. 1375 plus 200,000 divided by 0.571. I get here 2758319. Okay, 2758319. This is the break even revenue that we are getting to achieve this target profit. What was our break even revenue earlier? I think it was some 20 something. So break even revenue was 2408, but here you can find that the break even revenue has increased drastically. Why? Why? For the simplest ratio, that if you have to achieve more, the break even now will reach late, because you have to do achievement of the target profit more. Clear? So we are done with this calculation. Now the second part of the questions is asking, discuss the feasibility of the profit target. What is the feasibility of profit target? The same thing that we discussed. If the target profit is to be achieved, then the profit needs to be increased from 204 something, right? Wait. Yeah, the profit needs to be increased from 20240. I mean, that's a break even. However, we can say that the profit will increase even beyond the budgeted revenue, which is 2520, 2520000. And here you can see the break even revenue is only 275, which is beyond your budgeted sales targeted without the profit one. Okay, so that means we need an increase in sales in order to achieve these profits. Correct? So an increase in sales is needed by how much? Let's do the calculation. So 2520000 is the amount, right, of budgeted revenue. Now let's reduce 2758. So I can do it here also. I will write here increase. Now in order to achieve the target profit of 200,000, there is a need to increase the break-even revenue to 2758319 from 2520000. Okay, right? There's a need to achieve this. Hence, the percentage increase needed is what is the percentage increase? Now you can do it on a calculator also. 2758319 less 2520000 multiplied divided by 2520000 multiplied by 100. So we need an increase by approximately 9.46%. So only when the increase in the revenue is beyond 9.6%, the entity will be able to, then the entity should be um, then the entity will be, in the profitable zone. Now, another point, because the question says to discuss the feasibility of this target. Another point which can be discussed here is that if, okay, look here, guys. So, another point that we can discuss here is that if, now here you can see, we have extra demand. 252000 is a budgeted revenue, but this revenue is going beyond it. So ideally, what we should do? So because since there is an extra demand, okay, hence the production capacity may be increased, okay, to work at full capacity. Okay, so we have done this part also, and I hope I'm clear. If there's anything, please feel free to ask me. So we are done the 4 marker. That's all. We're just discussing the feasibility. That's all. Now explain the implications of increasing the sales volume of Jumbo on the overall weighted average contribution to CS ratio and the CVP analysis that you have already performed. Now see, it's a 4 marker and the question is asking you to explain. Explain means now you need under clarity in the paragraphs. Okay, so you need to explain it in the form of paragraphs. Okay, so let's do this. Question number A2. Okay, now please, the one point that we discussed, if we increase, I will just give the pointers here and I'm explaining it in detail. First point that we can write is CS ratio. Now Jumbo CS ratio is the lowest among all the 3 products. Okay, so if we increase the sales volume of Jumbo, okay, I technically it is of not much use. The reason being sales volume will just leverage it, right? And basically here we have got the lowest CS ratio, and the margin of safety is also such at a low percentage. So if the revenue falls beyond 4.4% or the overall results, then that is beyond 4.4%, right, that we had calculated as the margin of safety, then there is going to be loss. So then there is certainly going to be a loss. Clear? So this is one point that we can mention, and since it is explained, we have to write it in the paragraph. So like I have given you CS ratio and we explained it. The same way you need to do. Okay? Now let's see the next one. What is the next pointer that I can give? So if we increase the sales volume of the Jumbo, then that's all. Yes, we can write one thing here. If we sell more of Jumbo, I will write it. If we sell more of Jumbo, since its CS ratio is the lowest, hence okay, if we sell more of Jumbo, since its CS ratio is the lowest, hence because the CS ratio is lowest, so to meet the targets, to meet the targeted profit, like for example that target, then we need to increase the sales. The pressure will be there. The pressure will be on sales to be increased. right? And the pressure on the sales to be increased will be there because it's got the lowest CS ratio. The overall profits will fall, overall revenue will fall, and break even will rise. Break even will rise. Okay, I hope now you know the reason, right? That why the profits will fall. Why? Because of the CS ratio, it needs to improve on the revenue. See, because we have to achieve a particular target, and that target can only be achieved if we push up the revenue. And revenue pushing is very challenging because you cannot play with the selling prices, right? So what are you left with? Only volume. So because of which it becomes very challenging. Okay, so I hope I'm clear. Explain the implications of increasing the sales volume of Jumbo on the overall weighted average CS contribution, because you can write that also, that overall CS ratio will fall as Jumbo it's got the lowest CS ratio. So obviously overall CS ratio will fall. Okay, so I hope I'm clear. Okay, let's move on to the next one. It's a very general question. Okay, guys, let's discuss this very simple question and let's have inputs from your end. Discuss any two limitations of CVP. So yesterday we did limitations of regression. Before that we did limitations of EVEs and all. So do you find this trend to be there? So for the topics that are tested in PM in section C, there is always a trend of having advantages, disadvantages, about limitations, about benefits, about the any two positive factors. So when you're reading these topics, please make sure that these thoughts are already there in your mind. Okay? Discuss any two limitations of CVP analysis for planning and decision making. Can you give me any two? And please see it's 4 marker and it's discuss. So we have to give the heading and then write 2-3 lines about it. Okay, that small paragraph. Okay, everybody, give me your input quickly. Any two limitations that you see or that you find is of CVP. Very good, Vedika. I think one perfect answer is there, that an inherent limitation of CVP is it always assumes that the sales mix are constant. So there are 3 products in a company and all 3 products will always be sold in that budgeted ratio only. But that never holds true actually, right? In a practical world, this doesn't hold true that we have such constancy. Based on the customer demand, the sales mix also changes. You will write this and you get your 2 marks. Give me another. Sagar is given that ignores external factors. Yes, absolutely. I can say that the CVP analyzes, assumes a set of pointers. And beyond that, if there is any other pointer, they will not consider, because in CVP, the only factor that is not constant, okay, is sales volume. So very good point, Sagar. Shalu is given that assumes that fixed cost will remain same in total, but in reality, it increases after a particular level. Very good. Very good. The basic assumption with fixed cost is that that fixed cost throughout the period term will remain constant. Very good. But in practicality, we generally have stepped up fixed cost like you have given, right? So that stepped up fixed cost is ignored here, which is a very big drawback. Vedika is given all other components except volume remains constant, like I told you. And you can think of many others also, but how many you have to write? Just 2. So just stick to 2. Okay? Clear? Done and dusted? Tell me if you have any questions in this particular question, the Kalin company. Any questions in Kalin company's case study? Okay, let's proceed. So are you finding these comfortables now? Okay, let's proceed to our last question. Okay, which is the Kelly Company question. You can see on my screen, I have already a prepared template where I just have to fill in the figures which are not calculated. So we'll do the calculations and fill in them. Now again, let's read the question. Using the template which is provided, calculate the performance measures for the year ended June 2005 and prior year figures also. So we need to calculate the performance measures. Okay. Now that means it is a balanced scorecard. You can see here it's given that the Glen Company's assistant management accountant has started preparing the results for the year to 30th June 25 but has not yet calculated all of the figures required on the balance scorecard. So yes, that's what we are going to do. So let's read the question and then let's complete it. Now, Clem Company manufactures industrial washing machines used by hotels across the world. Again, it's a service industry. So, like I told you in PM questions, generally you will find one of the questions as a service industry question. Yes, this is a popular topic in PM or popular question base in PM. Okay. So now, Clem Company manufactures industrial washing machines used by hotels across the world. It is based in the country of D-Land. We had the same country yesterday in the yesterday discussion as well. But has manufacturing plants in a number of countries. Clem Company's goal is to be the leading global industrial washing machines manufacturer, generating value for customers and shareholders through a commitment to quality, innovation, and respect for the planet. Okay, so pointer only here is what I would be taking up is their viewpoint, their goal. Because sometimes in theory questions, we may have to comment on the goal. Now in 20x5, the global economy suffered a severe downturn and the sales of the new machines fell significantly. However, Clem Company's CEO is confident that the company's reputation for quality, reputation, and its commitment to embracing new technologies, that internal business process, right? So it is its commitment to embrace new technology, even learning and innovation, will help it strengthen its competitiveness and market growth as a global economy, recovers from the downturn. So it is really going to be helping that. Clem Company's commitment to technology is evident in both in the manufacturing process, which is highly automated process, okay, and also in the design of its machines. It has been a market leader in the development of the most energy efficient machines, which is EC010. So it has been a market leader. Okay, so it has been a market leader here. Ma'am, we can use always these theory pointers when we're writing our answers. So that time we need this support. Okay, now let's go further. So we have been given these perspectives, and so you don't have to really do much because these objectives are already given to you. So financial objective is sustaining growth. Measure is revenue growth, percentage, and operating profit. So revenue growth percentage is given to you. Operating profit we need to calculate. Let's do it here. So here is the data given to you. The summary of performance information for Clen for the year to 30th June and 30th June 20x4. Okay, let's do it here. How would you calculate operating profit? Operating profit is simply your revenue less operating cost and less depreciation. Okay, so let's do it here. So here your operating profit will be 107,209, which is given here as revenue, less operating cost is 88,669 and less depreciation is 10,390. Okay, likewise, we will do for 20x4 also. So the total revenue is 117,995 less 99,528 and less 99785. Okay, so we get here 8682. You got your two data. Can you see the lines? You have to do 5 lines, and all 5 lines means 1 mark. So you got 5 marks. Okay, so that means both these answers are half a mark each. Okay, so now why I'm telling you this breakup? Because guys, in the exam, you may do 2, maybe 3 parts wrong, but you will still get marks for the other parts, like for 0.5 marking. Okay, so section C has this biggest advantage. Okay, let's take this more here. Now, the next part of the question requires us to calculate market share. So let's just read the complete question and then probably we'll be able to work it out. So for financials, we have revenue growth and operating profit. For customer, we have market share and percentage of customers who recommend Clint company. For internal business process, we have machine downtime and percentage of machines manufactured with defects. Innovation and learning, we will have one average output, that is average machines per employee, and the EC010 machines as a percentage of machines produced. All these measures are given to you, we just have to calculate. So let's look at the data also. How will I calculate market share? So you have been given revenue and all. You have been given average number of employees, machines manufactured by Clen, EC0 machines, downtime, everything is given to you. Now let's read the notes. You know, the notes are very important for the exam area. The total global revenue, overall market revenue it probably means, right? The overall global revenue. The total global revenue from new machine sales in the year to 30th June 20x5 was 1,634 million. The corresponding figure for the year to 30th June 24 was 308 million. Okay, so the figures overall, the market has gone down globally. But we will see for the entity whether the market has gone down or not. Downtime refers to measures any time when the production is stopped either due to technical failure, maintenance or unavailability of input. So for whatever reason the production is stopped. So that is the downtime. Machines with defects means the number of machines, that is note number 3. Okay, it means the number of machines which is manufactured in the year which have had defects reported by a customer within 12 months of buying them. So this is basically explaining what is a defect categorized here. Industry figures for both 20x5 and 20x4 show that on an average customer reported 1.33%. Okay, 1.33% of new machines. So this is your industry average for the defects. Okay, for the defects. Okay, I hope I'm clear. Now let's calculate it. So we need to do the calculation of market share. How will I do it? We know global revenue. We know this entity's revenue. Can we take the proportion and get it? Yes, that's what the question is asking. So what is entity's revenue? Let's work it out here. Entity's revenue is this. 107209. So please write your 107209 divided by the global revenue, which is 1600134. So the market share is 6.7%. Okay, I hope I'm clear. So the market share is 6.7%. Okay, next one you guys will be doing. So have focus. I will be asking you to do a question now. And likewise, what is the market share percentage here? The market share percentage will be, sales here is 117995. It is divided by global revenue. For the last year, the global revenue was 1815 308, right? And multiplied by 100. So I get here 6.5%, right? I hope I'm clear when you round it off. Now people, please tell me the answer for the next one. All the data is given to you here on the screen. Look at the screen carefully and tell me what I should write as the percentage of manufactured machines with defects. Okay, percentage of manufactured machines with defect. What should I write? Give me the percentage quickly. Now, do the calculations and give me. What is the percentage of manufactured machines with a defect? Come on. I won't give you more time. Only 10 seconds and give me your answer. Quickly. Let's see who can give me. What is the percentage of manufactured machines with a defect? Do the calculation quickly. Vedika has given me 0.64%. Okay, I will go ahead with 0.64%. I'm assuming it is correct. Somebody else can also verify it. Okay, which is the next one? So Vedika has given me the next one also, and Shalu has also given me. It is 0.64%. Be very clear. Percentages. It is 0.64. How? The total number of machines is given to you here. Total number of machines are 3,763,400, and the machines with defect is 24086. So you will do 24086 divided by 13763,400. Correct? So you get here 0.64, 0.0, that is 0.64%. Okay, the next one. Vedika has given me 0.69. Anybody else? But you all are correct. Otherwise, you all are correct. Good. So you are giving me 0.69. I will take it and I will take it forward. I will write to you 0.69. Okay, this is 0.64, but this is 0.69. Done. And these both are in percentages. Okay, next one. What is the average output per employee? Number of machines per employee. Let's see the question. Number of machines, we know it is 3,763,400. Number of employees are 61860. So divide it and get your answer. So 3,763,400 divided by, let me do it here. 37. This is a common mistake done by the students where they did 61,860 by 3,763. That's wrong. Okay, here we are calculating average number of employees. So how many machines an average number of employees are doing? That's what we are calculating. Hence, we will take the machines first. 3,763,400 divided by 61860. So we get here 60.83. So the output is for an employee, single employee, he is working with 60 machines. Okay, now So the number of machines is 4249 600. This is for 20x4, right? And this divided by average number of employees is 71 200. So we find here it is 59.68 and there it is 60.83. Done? Okay, so though they're very similar, I mean they're very closer, so it is really not a big variation. Now the next one, what is the percentage of eco companies to machines produced? Again, very easy. What is eco company? Eco company has got the levels of 1751164 divided by total sales 3763 400, right? Total machines. So we get here 0.46, but we need to multiply to get the percentage. Yeah, so it is 46.53 per machines. 46. So eco company is a considerable part of the overall manufacturing. If you compare it with the last year it was, what is eco company's number? 1732336 divided by last year's last year's number of machine is 4249 600. So we get here, just a minute. Once. Okay, so the answer is 40.76. Now, what do you see here? The eco-friendly machines have considerably increased. That means the entity is working towards its green objective, and the customers are also in that. I mean, the customers are also accepting it. The customers are also going for it. Yes, Shalu. Okay. So I hope it is clear. Okay, now we will not express this in Shalu in percentage because the question is not asking here. Here the question is asking, so we expressed in percentages. Okay, done. Okay, let's go to the next one. So we have completed these figures and we have secured 5 marks. Easy 5 marks. Now let's take the next one. Now here I would need your inputs for evaluation and analysis and kind of a brainstorming here. Okay, let's give that input. Okay, let's go to the last one. Using the performance measures given in the Klein company, okay, using the performance measures given in the Klein company's balance scorecard and your calculations from part A that we have done, analyze Klein company's performance for the year to 30th June 25. Note, a maximum of 3 marks will be given for additional calculations that we are doing. 1 mark for calculation. So for anything extra that you're using apart from the calculations that you're done in the previous part, you will get 1 marks extra. Isn't this very interesting? Okay, now let's do all of you. Since it's a very elaborative question and we'll have to do for 15 marks the commenting, I want all of you to just go through this data just once. And the notes also. Okay, just once. So that when I'm doing the reasoning, you would be with me. I hope everybody is done. Okay, now let's do it. Okay, so now I'll write down here pointers and then we will discuss it. Now, what are the 4 performance measures? I mean, what are the different performance measures? So for every performance measure, I will give some pointers, I will do some paragraph and then we'll move to the another one. Since there is additional marks given, so we'll try to cover pointers which are beyond what we have calculated in the last one. Okay, so first I'm taking here question number B. First performance measure that we take here is revenue growth. Okay, now here what kind of understandings that we will be drawing? See, whenever you're doing a comparison, now always use percentages, because comparisons are always done with percentages. They are never done with absolute values. So this is a very, very big point. Okay, unless some places where you cannot use percentages, then it's another thing. But wherever you can, then please use percentages. Now let's talk about revenue growth. When I look at the chart here, my revenue has grown by negative 9.1%. The reason being, it's given in the question clearly that there is a downturn going in the market. So that also you will write down. Okay, it's a separate thing that you're writing. 9.1 percentage is the value by which your revenue is going down, and about the downturn we can write, and that's all. Now we can add on to it and we can discuss here that look, although there is a fall of 9.1%, but let's check with industry what is the percentage there. So you can see there is again a fall in revenue, but what is the fall in revenue? I can calculate 1815,308 less 1600,134 divided by 181530. Just 1 minute. 181530 less 1600,134 divided by 185,308. Why it is coming wrong? 1815. Okay, so if you observe here, when we do the industry average, so here we will talk about company sales, we will talk about industry average. And when I say industry average, the industry average is that the global revenue has gone down by 11.85%, and the entity sales have gone down only by 9.1%. So although it is a reduction because there is a downturn in the market, but if you observe clearly, then we find that the entities reduction in the sales is less than the reduction of the global revenue. Right, so this is a very important calculation. You will get 1 marks here because you're using different data to do the calculations. Clear? So we know industry average, we know company sales, and that is what is revenue growth about. Clear? Now, so I think there is nothing more that we can write. We have talked about this. We talked about these two. Done. So you write this in a paragraph and you got your 2 marks very comfortably. Let's go to the next one. So the next performance measure is operating profit. Now the question is mentioned very clearly, it is in dollars. So we will only do a dollar understanding. Now how do we calculate operating profit? So we calculate operating profit that we have done here in this way. Now let's go back to a previous screen and let's calculate what is the percentage increase or decrease in operating profit. Just give me a moment. Let's resume. No, we are not in the end. Still incomplete. This we have done. This, yeah. So I wanted you to go to the previous screen. Now, when we go to the previous screen, we have done here the calculation of operating profit, right? Now, when we look at the operating profit calculation, you can see that in the current year, the operating profit is 8150, and in the previous year, it was 8682. Yes, it has gone down, but let's see what is the percentage. Always, because we do comparisons in percentages, okay? So we have calculated in absolute terms, but we can work out percentage. So that will be this minus, so actually I will use the current year first. This minus the previous year divided by the previous year multiplied by 100. So we see that the operating profit is actually reduced by only 6.12%. Now let's go back to the question, and when I see here, you can see that the operating cost have also reduced by 10%, more than the fall in the revenue. My depreciation, which is a non-cash item, has changed by 6%. But important pointer is my operating profit is only reduced by 6%, which is less than the reduction in revenue. So why it has taken place? Okay, this is how you will comment. This is how you will comment that why it has taken place. It has taken place. So I will write here in the pointers, number 1, comparison in percentage between the operating profit of the 2 years. Okay, so that is comparison in percentage between the operating profit of the 2 years. That we see that there is a fall of negative 6.9%. Okay, now, but we will write that this fall is less than the fall in revenue. That means the entity has actually bounced back a bit, and now it must have bounced back by reduction of the expenses. How that can take place? By having the cost controls in place. That due to which it is reflective also, the operating expenses have gone down by 10%. So part of these operating expense reduction is on the account of downturn, but part of it is also about the careful thought planning, where the unnecessary expenses are probably controlled and they are regularized. Okay, so I hope I'm clear. We will talk about this in operating profit. I'm sure nothing else. We've talked about expense, revenue, that's all. Okay, so now third one. Let's go to the third performance measure. Third performance measure would be market share. Now please look here. So we are just going to discuss every pointer like this. So just see the market share. If you observe here, let's do the calculations of market share. I think that we must have done in the previous part. So you can see here the market share, even though there is downturn, even though there are falling revenues and falling profits, but still the entity has been able to achieve increase in the market share. What does this indicate? That the entity is working in the perfect way, which is acceptable to the customers, and due to which its market share has increased. Okay, so I hope I'm very clear when we're discussing these pointers. You have anything, you can ask me. Okay, now again, let's go to the next one. So the next financial performance measure is percentages of customers who recommend claim. Now, what are you going to write here? See, the percentage of customers has also increased, which is 59% in comparison to 56%. And with this, we can also relate that the machine with defects have also gone down. Forget it. The downtime has gone down. Downtime means when your machine is not working. So probably your percentage of customers who recommend Glen is linked with downtime also, because the entity has been able to reduce the downtime by 6.3%. Again, you're using a new data, you will get 1 mark for this. Okay. So because the downtime has gone down by 6.3%, hence probably due to which the customer's reliability, the customer's faith in the company has gone up. And which is evident here also that the percentages of the customers who recommend Glen has gone up to 59% from 56%. So there is a 3% increase over. Done? Okay, now let's go to the next point. So the next performance measure is downtime, that we have already covered here now. Okay, the percentage of the downtime, the percentage of the goods which are manufactured with defects. So that we calculated, again we can just calculate here, and we can see here, so the overall percentage of goods manufactured with defects has gone down, but it is not zero. It is not zero. What does this indicate if it is not zero? It means there is still scope for the entity to improve, to reduce this downtime, to ensure that the downtime is not there. Right? So this is the onus of the entity. Okay, the next one. Okay, we have discussed this. Now let's go to the next one. So market share done, and percentage of customers who recommend claim are done. Next is in downtime that we have already covered in the discussion. Percentage of manufactured machines with defect. Now again, you will use the percentages here. See, percentage of manufactured company with defect has gone down by 11%. But what is the actual percentage? So for the first one, it will be, what is the, it has manufactured with defects has gone down by 18% approximately. Okay. Now let's see, 24086 is the number of machines with defects. Divide by the total number of machines and we get here the percentage of defects. So let's do the calculation. 3763 400. So I get here that the percentage of defect was 0.64%. Okay. Now we have seen it to be falling. Correct. We have seen it to be falling. So due to which now, I mean, it basically shows that the entity is improving and hence the defects have gone down. Okay. Now let's take the next one. So we have covered till customer and as well as the internal business processes. Last one, learning and innovation, average output per employee. That we have seen in our last question, right? That average output per employee has increased. That means the employees are handling more of the total units manufacturing properly, right? But there is one more point that I observed here when we see the number of employees. If you see here, the number of employees have gone down by 13%, but the productivity is improved, the efficiency is improved as they are handling more machines. So what does this indicate? That probably the management, the entity is more of an automated entity, and hence there is less human intervention. So the staff maybe is therefore it is having such high attrition rate. Okay, clear? We can also talk about this as well. No, that will cover in the next point. Okay, the next one. Innovation and learning is average output per employee that we have covered. The last one, eco machines as a percentage of machines produced. Okay, one more point that is coming to my mind when I just saw this, that we discussed the machines with defects, right? If you see the average of the industry is that there will be 1.33 machines with defect, but the percentage with this entity is 0.64 in the current year. So it is even such drastically less than the industry average. Hence, it so shows that the entity is doing well. Okay. Now the last point that I'm discussing, where we are covering here eco 10 machines as a percentage of machine produced. Now you can use the data which is given to you in the question. We can say that the Clem company's goal is to be the leading global industrial washing machine manufacturer to generate value for customers and shareholders through a commitment to quality, innovation, and respect for the planet. So as a result of this respect to the planet, the Eco10, the Eco10 machines as a percentage of machinery produced is approximately 1751. We have done this. It is 46% as opposed to 40%. As opposed to 40%, right? That we have covered. Now, what does this indicate? This indicates that the entity is going towards sustainability and customer is also going towards sustainability. And they are loving this product. They are going ahead with this product and they are using it. Okay. So, sustainability is also covered here. Correct. Yeah, and you can include it here because we're talking about we are here the we are talking about the eco machines which are environmental friendly machines. Correct. So that's done. We're done with all the discussions. Let's see if you have left out something, then we can just add on. Yes, here one more point we can add on is the traditional machines have gone down, but the eco machines are technically same and they've not gone down. One of the biggest reason is for the traditional machines is that it is now being replaced by the automated machines, correct? So hence we remove them like phase by phase. I mean, only if we see the downward sales. See, right now there are sales in the traditional machines. So continue doing that. Okay, when it has a downturn, then we'll remove it from the books. Okay, I hope I'm clear. So, but now Eco 10 machines increase indicates that the customer is becoming more, more environmentally friendly, and this is going to have an added advantage. Okay, so I hope I'm very, very clear on it. Okay, so now if the question is not asking, but since we have written so much, we can give a conclusion also here. And what conclusion we can give? We can see that although there is an economic downturn, there is overall recession in the industry and overall, and the entities figures also show negative growth and negative figures. But when we do a comparison with the industry and when we see overall, even in a downturn, the entity is doing very fine and is able to stand in the downturn, right? Stable, is able to basically navigate through the downturn. So this is a conclusion, or you can write it in your words, anything, but this has to form part of your answering. Clear? So this will always be a part of your answering. Now, quickly, guys, tell me, and when I'll just quickly take you to the examiner's report also. Be with me and let's take it here. Okay, I will show you also how would you open your examiner's report in, this is basically if you are not very well aware of it. So you will select your subject here on the CBE platform and then you will see examiner's reports. Okay, this and here you have examiner's reports for the last 6 exam terms, right? All the 6 attempts. So now you can have a look and then you can select. So here I will just look at this examiner report again and I will show you here the examiner's report. Now we will just focus and concentrate on section C. Okay, please look at my screen. Here we'll just discuss about the common errors that were done by the students. Okay, this is very, very important. And it's a general comment that I don't want you all to lose, at any reason. Now look here. Also note that the requirement to show the contribution to CS ratio as a decimal figures to 3 decimal places. Please remember, whenever your question is silent about any decimals, the number of decimals that you require, by default, we follow a strategy of 3 decimal places. Okay. So by default, if we have a need to write down, the answer in decimals, you will write till 3 decimal places. If the rounding guidance is given, okay, it is said that if there is a specification given in the question that you have to round off your answers, only then you will round it off. Otherwise, you will get 0 for that step because round it off will only be done when it is needed. Okay, otherwise you will get the full score. I'm just going to discuss the ones that I need you all to know from your exam point of view. Okay, now let's see here. These were fairly well answered. Okay. Okay, look at please this part. There are two parts here that were poorly answered in the exam. Okay, please look here. Part 2 was a challenging requirement. And what was part 2? Part 2 was this. Explain the implications of increasing the sales volume that we discussed, right? If we increase the sales volume, then what will happen to the overall CS ratio and the CVP that we calculated also. So it was a question that was poorly answered. And the common mistake was to discuss the effect on Killian in general. Always remember, you will only write general questions. We have general theory part. What is the general theory part? Write the limitations, write the advantage, disadvantage, and all. Whenever a question is relating to a case study, you will never give general points. Okay, you will write specific points. Very important, candidates should ensure that as part of their exam preparation, they become familiar with the software they will be using in their exams as well as the spreadsheet. Okay, if the candidate is not using spreadsheet functionality and is choosing to carry out separate calculations and enter the figure, this may lead to certain problems. Like I told you, you cannot do calculations on the calculator and show. You have to type it in Excel. There is a risk of errors in getting wrong answers. The lack of wording shown will make it harder to award the marks. Awards answers may be rounded incorrectly to an error. Okay. So therefore, please use spreadsheet functionality only and never do the calculations. That's all. Otherwise, it was fairly well answered. Yeah, so that's all. It was otherwise fairly well answered. And now I hope that all of you are absolutely crystal clear with the topics that we have discussed. Now, quickly, guys, I just need 30 seconds. Just tell me in the chat box, how do you rate yourself in section C now in terms of your practice skills, in terms of understanding skills, confidence from what you were at the start of the practice series that we did for the past papers and now at the end of it after 3 days? Just quick one point, an honest point. Do you find yourself any changes, any level of accuracy improved, any time management improved if you would have tried some questions in these 3 days? So just tell me, compare yourself from what you were at the start of day one and now at end of day three. Any changes that you found, please put this in the chat box. Okay, so Shalu is giving that better understanding of writing theory answers. Sagar said, I have not practiced section C question much, but these were really helpful now. I have confidence to try them. Good. Okay, so I want to see your confidence levels and I want it to be elevating. So now the 40 markers should not, the 40 marks which has 220 markers should not be difficult. They are something that you can handle with ease. Just follow the instructions that we did, how to break the question, break the answer, write it down, and follow the comments in the examiner's report. If you have not read through them, please read them and follow them. Okay, so that's all for today, and that's all for the three-part series that we have completed. Follow my channel for more data which is going to be there, more content which is going to be there, and just do well, do extremely well, and I'm sure you're going to have a very great exam. Vedika says understanding the question is really better. The techniques have helped me. And I saw one section C2D using the technique. It was fairly well time managed. Good. Building more kind of confidence for sections. That's what I need to know. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Keep studying. Take care.